All right, what's up, everyone? We are here with Big Papa Jimmy. I got Braydon with me. Big Papa Jimmy has put himself out there. He is willing to do some virtual coaching sessions, and Braydon and I have put ourselves up for grabs. So we've put together some clips. Myself, I've kind of self-rated at around 4.0. We're gonna let Jimmy tell me what I am. James is gonna tell us what our real ratings are, not duper ratings. And we've got some clips from Braydon as well, who typically plays 5.0. So we're excited. James, thanks for being with us, man.
Yeah, thank you guys. For those who don't know at home, I have been getting a bunch of requests from all of Logan's doubles partners, like, "Hey, you've got to coach this guy. Get him on. Get the virtual coaching." So that's why we're doing this.
They paid
They're
for it,
doing, yeah, they're
which is
doing like
great.
a GoFundMe thing for this guy. So I got a bunch of different payments coming in. So that's why I'm here. And yeah, let's see. I'm a little concerned, but let's see.
All right, let's do it. So I split up. I'm going to share my screen. I split it up into good and bad, but I still think on the good ones, you need to just tell me whether or not you would have changed my strategy or my shot selection. So yeah, either way there.
All right, let's do it.
Let's see. Here we go.
You're in the bottom left.
All right, yeah, I'm
Logan?
on the bottom left here.
Got it.
You're a sweaty man, Logan.
This is 10 a.m. and it's 90 degrees. Yeah. James knows what's up. It's hot.
All right, so why don't we stop it here? Is there I just want to know the strategy here. So you dinked probably 5 times in a row, slice backhands. You're not really showing any sign of being aggressive. Are you guys purposely targeting that guy in the red, or what was the thought process behind that many cross-court dinks?
Yeah, there's no thought process, James. So this guy on the right that I'm playing with, I've never played with him before. Can't remember his name. The 2 guys in front of me, I know because I played with them multiple times. But yeah, there's no strategy here. This is just like open play at a park. And essentially, cross-court dinking is what I thought was the right move. So here I'm dropping. I come in. I'm cross-court dink there. I'm taking the cross-court dink because I think that going across the court, lowest part of the net is the best strategy. But you can see I did this multiple times. So there's 2, and then there's 3, and then I think he sped up there, and then I just took the winning shot off the speed up.
Yeah,
It's called a counter.
Yeah, there you go, the counter. Yep, I did that. I countered.
Yeah, that's the reason I point this out so early is because I think, when I was going up in levels, and I had the same problem like a year and a half ago when I was a 4.0 or 4.5, I kind of did the same thing over and over again. And especially in dinking, if you look at pro level dinking, unless there's one particular target that's really weak, they're mixing it up in terms of the spots. So that doesn't mean you have to mix up the players, but you can go to the left foot of that guy in the red and then go to the right foot. So that outside foot and then that inside foot. Making them switch there is, I think, really effective. Because if you let them get into a groove and hit a backhand dink over and over again, especially since it doesn't look like you were preparing to maybe pull a 2-handed backhand speed up off the bounce, because that's a little bit of a different story. If you're content just slicing it over and over with no real threat, then he's really comfortable dinking cross court with you. It's not really going to do anything. So if you want to find a way to actually make something happen with a slice dink, which is not really an aggressive shot, at least move it around to, the outside foot of, the inside foot of the right side player, inside foot of the left side player. Try to move the ball around more, I would say.
Okay. That's good feedback. All right, let's keep going. I got a lot of clips here, so let's see what else you see. All right, so now I'm receiving here. I got a little lucky there, in my opinion, because I went for that backhand roll, but I pretty much aimed at his head, and I rolled it in. But I don't know if I love the I don't know if I love the shot selection that I made there. So off this play, I rolled it to his head, but I made it in. It's like kind of awkward.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's interesting. When I speed up forehands off the bounce, this is an important tip too for pretty much everybody. I think about it this way: when you play singles, right, or if you've ever played singles, from which part of the court is it easier for you to hit a passing shot? Answer that if you can.
All right.
If
So
you wanted
from
to
which
pass
play is it
somebody,
easier for me to hit a passing shot?
is it easier for you to pass somebody in singles from the middle of the court or from the sideline?
If the opponent or myself is from the sideliner. I mean,
Let's
I would say
you're
that
on,
it's easier for me to go down the line on somebody and pass them. It feels like it would be easier in singles to go down the line, but maybe I'm wrong there.
or even cross. Yeah, from the sideline. You have
Yeah.
more angles that way. If you're on the side of the court, it's easier for you to pass somebody than it is if you're from the middle. So like if you watch the pros, a lot of singles pros, they'll return middle a lot
Okay.
because it cuts off the angles. And the same exact logic applies to speed ups. So if you want to, prevent somebody from speeding up the ball, you can dink right in the center and maybe 3 feet from the center, and it's a lot easier to cover than it is if you're going to speed up from the far sideline. So if you're going to speed up from where you were, which is, near the middle of the court, see, like that's no pro is speeding up the ball from that spot. Pros are
Okay.
speeding up the ball from 3 feet to the right of where you're standing because it gives you more angles. You can go up his line. You could also go across his body. From that spot on the court where you're speeding it up from, he could sit. If he's smart, he can just sit back in, and his opponent, his partner's got the other side of him.
That right there.
Yeah, that speed up right there from that spot on the court. I think unless you're like a super aggressive attacking player, maybe then that's part of your game. But I think normally you want to be speeding up from the sidelines.
Yep. Okay. It's cool. I didn't know that. That's
So
great.
if you want to be aggressive off the middle ball, maybe they're playing the middle more. Like do you just try to go hard angle dinks? Like how do you be aggressive from the middle?
Yeah. I think when I'm looking to be aggressive out of the middle, it's pretty much strictly out of the air. If I'm going to be aggressive off the bounce through the middle, it's tough. I guess maybe at the
So
4
you're saying
level.
primarily like speed ups off the bounce is more difficult in the middle.
Yeah, of course it is. Because think about it. Anything that's going, so that guy in the red shirt, anything that's going over his left shoulder is going out, and the guy in the white shirt, anything that's going over his right shoulder is going out. So that both players can sit at their body / middle, and it's way easier to cover.
Gotcha.
Yep. Okay. Cool. All right, let's keep going. See what we got. This is the end of that point. Got lucky.
I'm glad there's so many things to point out. Your partners were right.
Glad you got all those Venmos.
Yeah, this is awesome. I'm rich now. Okay, I like the drop technique.
So it's that same thing where I sped up middle. It's probably the same exact. I mean, I got lucky there because he popped it over my head, but again, I went like 2 dinks. So here, I went dink, then dink again. After this dink, I decided to speed up. So I went out of the air. I didn't wait for it to bounce, but I don't know if it was the right play or not. In any case.
Yeah, I think if you're going out of the air there, it's different. I think that's more of a realistic attack. If you go off the bounce with that, I know it worked on the previous point, but that's usually it's been shown that that's not high percentage. But if you can do it out of the air, that's different. I think, as we know, out of the air attacks are on a percentage basis more successful than off the bounce attacks.
Yep. Okay. And by the way, these are supposed to be my good ones, so wait till you see the bad ones. So not much there, although I don't know if I aimed in the right spot, for whatever it's worth. So like right here, when I attack this ball, do you think that I should have gone right here? I'm going at his body, the white shirt's body. Should I have tried?
Is this not a counter?
It is.
He attacked you. Okay.
Yeah, he attacked me, but like the ball's going slow enough where I purposely went for the white shirt's chest. It's not so fast that I didn't have a chance to decide where I wanted to go. But I wonder if I should have gone back at the red, more towards the middle, or if my counter spot was correct. I don't know if you have an opinion on it, but
I don't think I've ever had a spot on a counter. I don't really, I don't aim my counters. I think it's tricky. You want to just try to just be as quick as you can. And I mean, I don't know. I don't really aim counters. I think that can get weird. If you are gonna aim it, probably keep it straight on because there's less time for your opponent to react, as we know.
Yeah, going cross court is just leaving more time for the ball in the air.
Sort of, but there's advantages and disadvantages to that. The middle of the net is 2 inches shorter than the sides, right? 34 inches in the middle, 36 on the sides, and then you got more court going cross, a couple extra feet. So I guess there's advantages and disadvantages, but generally I'm not aiming counters. I don't really know if there's enough time. I think if you do have time and the speed up is particularly poor, then there's an argument that you could go cross because they're less ready than the person who initiated the poor speed up. Because as we know, if we initiate a poor speed up, we're ready for it to come back. So that guy in the red who hit that poor speed up, he's probably a little more ready than the guy in the white because the guy in the white didn't know that poor speed up was coming.
Yeah.
So see how he's not even really ready. So I guess, again, I'm not really aiming counters, but I think you're not wrong in going cross there.
Yeah. Okay. I'll let this play through and we'll watch the next point. All right. So now I'm on the right. I'm on the right here again.
Yep. I know which one you are. I'm paying attention.
Oh, thanks. All right. So the reason I put this in here is I want you to pay attention to this specific point because in my bad, you'll see for some reason, what I like to do here is I cheat really hard to the middle. So this time it panned out. So you'll see here that my, the server, let's see, I return it. It goes back to the server. Here I cheat and I get that middle shot. It worked out for me, but you'll see here in a couple other points where it did not. And I'm curious what you would do from my perspective. And maybe that's the wrong ball altogether, but we'll just see some more here and see what happens.
Yeah. Well, I do have an opinion on that I can give.
Yeah, let's do it.
Now. So when you're cheating, when you say that, does that just mean when you're crashing on a fifth?
Yeah, so right here, I'm crashing and you can see my toes in the center line. There's some more points that we're going to get to where I do the exact same thing. The guy in the red basically poaches and takes me backside, like goes the opposite way with it and just completely screws the point over.
Got it.
So I got away with it here in my opinion, but what do you think?
I think that if you can get it down, the most important thing about crashing is actually getting it down. Because if you get it down, if they read it and they get it back, that's okay. Because if you get it down, then theirs is coming up. And if theirs is coming up, you're safe. Usually people are more comfortable poaching and crashing with a forehand than a backhand, obviously. But there is one advantage to crashing with a backhand, if you can do it. And I'm somebody who likes to do it. I like to crash with the two, especially in mixed. Is that if you get beat back behind you, you actually have more space to recover because you have a forehand behind you. So if you're crashing with the forehand, conversely, from the left, crashing with the forehand, and you get beat behind you, you have a backhand behind you. You have less reach, less power. But if you crash with the backhand and you do get beat behind you, you can recover from that more often with a forehand. Does that make sense?
Totally. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, it's good advice. Okay.
If you're comfortable. I mean, a lot of people aren't comfortable crashing with the backhand.
No, that makes sense. Yeah. Yeah, so not much there. That was just another one of those same rallies where dink, dink. And I took this one off the ground again, and I sped up into that guy's chest or to, I guess, the left shoulder.
Yeah.
But again, I think you've already kind of touched on the fact that you don't love that play and maybe like the next level. If I was at 4-5, I'm probably going to get that back in my face.
Well, I think if anything, don't go with the left shoulder there. The reason for that is because speed ups come back in triangles almost all of the time. So I think it's like, I saw there's some advanced stats on this that somebody showed me. I actually can't share who gave it to me, but if you, for example, right, let's say you sped up from the wide forehand. So let's say you're all the way out there near the sideline and you sped up across the body of that guy in the red. Okay. go across his body, so to his right shoulder. His counter, because people don't really aim counters if it's a good speed up, his counter is going to go through the middle. It's going to be a triangle, like 80% of the time, 75% of the time at least. Okay? Same thing on the backhand. If you're on the left and you have a wide backhand, that guy on your team, on your left side, if he went across the body of the guy in the white shirt in front of him, backhand speed up to the left shoulder of that guy, his counter naturally is going to go to the middle. Okay?
Yeah.
So when you speed up the ball, it's important to keep in mind where your partner is. So you speeding it up to that guy's left shoulder, if he got it back, if he had better hands, right, it's usually going to go to your right where you aren't necessarily there. See where you are? So there's 4 or 5 feet, actually more than that, to your right, where if he did get a good counter on that, the ball's probably going to land there, actually, if he punches it. And that's a winner.
Yeah,
it's a winner for sure. But if you go across his body to his right shoulder, his counter, if he does hit it well, is either going through the middle where you are and your partner is sitting forehand.
Yep.
Okay, so you kind of want to speed it up so that the response goes between where you and your partner are, because inevitably one of you guys is going to get a paddle on it. Does that make sense?
It does. I'm really surprised you have that much time to think about it in the pro level, but I love your thought process. That's amazing.
Oh, you have no time to think about it at the pro level.
You just
it's
know
just subconscious. Yeah. No time. I don't think about anything.
If the ball's on the right sideline, you don't speed up across the body, say you speed up down the line, are you expecting that to come back down the line? Like, what's the percentage on that shot?
That doesn't necessarily, there's no guarantee on that. The triangle is, it depends on whether they're countering with a two-handed backhand or a one-hander. If they're countering with a two-handed backhand, it's going to go through the middle, right? Like you look at a two-handed backhand counter, that goes cross court like 80% of the time. And I would know because I have one, and they all go like, maybe cross, or maybe like by cross court, I mean from that far side, it'll end up like going through the middle, right? But if it's a one-handed backhand, that's subject. I mean, that depends on the player. If they're going to slice it and reset it, it's going to go cross.
It's more predictable doing the triangle thing, like
with cross body attack,
speeding across the body and then looking to finish it on the other side.
Yeah, I had to. I don't think I specified that. That applies for cross body attacks.
Okay.
So. Yeah, you guys know what I mean by a crossbody attack, right?
So like if you're speeding up down the line, like you're gonna go to the guy in the right forehand.
My forehand should be going towards his left or his right shoulder, left on the screen, but towards his right shoulder. Like it's like chicken winging him, right?
Yeah, if you go to his left shoulder, it's not a crossbody attack. If you go to his right shoulder, it is.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, and I'm going. Yeah, and for the viewers, I'm going left here, which could leave me very susceptible to the ball landing to the right of me, which there's a lot of land there to grab. So not a great spot. All right. So this is a new game. This is like on average who's on court is about 4-0. So take that into consideration, but different game. And then in a minute here, we'll get into like all the bad shots that I put together.
I thought we were already covering that.
We are. Wait till you see the bad stuff, man. It's rough. It's rough. So the only reason I was somewhat impressed with that is because I decided to go behind this guy.
That's good.
I just happened to like kind of see he was crashing middle, and that's where I went there. But yeah.
I like that. I think if you see somebody that's crashing middle, and especially the way you held it, right? You kind of held the forehand, so it was sort of deceptive. I mean, I wouldn't have fallen for it, but at this level, that's pretty deceptive. I like that.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
You'd hope to get a little more action on that forehand out of the air, though.
Mine or my partner's?
Yours. Your partner's hitting the crap out of it. But yours right here, see that one? So that's all right, but then that is what it is.
You're probably thinking about this one right here, right? That one right there.
That one. Bang, bang, bang. That is, that's.
So even though I hit it deep, you think I should have found a way to hit it harder?
Well, you're making contact with it above net height, aren't you? It looks to be at least.
Yeah.
It looks like you're kind of coming underneath the ball, even though the ball's high.
Yeah, exactly. The higher the ball is, the less you need to come. But you see how high that went? As you go as you get to a higher level, when people realize that you're always coming under the ball, because there are some pros that always do that, and you know right away that if they have a fourth or a sixth, you can go up there and crash. So if I were playing you and I saw that, okay, maybe my drop isn't good, that's okay. I'm going to drop it there every time because you're coming under the ball to such a significant
It's just
degree.
going to float a little more.
Yeah, and then I'll just crash. I'll crash and jam a forehand in there.
Yeah.
So that's more of like a higher level issue, but you got to get more action on that. I would hope that you see how much you're coming under that. It's you got to maybe think of trying to sidearm it, find a way to hit it down, take a bigger cut.
Yeah. That's a really good point. Yeah, that's awesome. Honestly, I didn't think about that when I was hitting this ball, but like you can see that I let the ball go way lower than the apex before I make contact.
Well, yeah, I mean, invariably you're going to hit balls below the apex, and that's okay. You still have to hit down on them if you can.
Yeah, hit down. Okay.
Yeah.
Now on this play, can I ask you, do you like this switch here? So my partner had just hit, I think he just hit an overhead. He had to run backwards. Overhead. I take that shot and I take his spot. So it kind of creates a little bit of I feel like a better player would have hit cross court there. He decides to go back down the line, my opponent.
Yeah.
But
that's a weird situation. I think if you're going to come over, I think you did the right thing in keeping it in front of you, right? Like if you went cross court with that ball for whatever reason, the guy in the blue would have passed you guys up the line. So I think you made the right choice. And if you are going to come over, go line there always. Yeah. And I don't think you made the wrong choice to take that out of the air and switch, because if it bounces, you guys might be in a tough spot. So no, I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with what you did.
Okay, cool.
I mean, your partner was really slow to figure out that you had poached. I mean, the guy was about to come from behind and tackle you. Interesting. Yeah, he must have been thinking about something else.
Probably. He's a Division I college soccer player, so he's probably just having a good time.
Yeah, got it. Not tennis. That's
Hey, so Logan, we got about 10 minutes left.
Oh yeah.
So I'm gonna hijack and do a few clips.
Yeah.
James is giving you better tips than I thought he would, so I want some. Before I show these to you, I'm a better right side player than I am left. And so mix is probably my worst event. And I just have a hard time generating offense as well as I feel like I should. I feel like I lose a lot of points in scenarios where I feel like I was ahead and should have won. So these are a handful of clips of some mixed games where I felt like I should have been able to do more and win these points. And then anyways, we'll get your thoughts here. So
okay.
This one I think I end up losing his speed up.
That one.
So that one went long. So we talked about this a second ago, right? Speeding it up off the bounce in the middle.
I think in mixed that changes though, because you have to attack the female. I think in mixed, if you are going to speed it up off the bounce through the middle, you want to go across their body because there's actually a really good chance that it goes wide. I've noticed it. So if you speed that one up across the body and you catch her right hip, if you feel comfortable enough to accurately hit her right hip from there, right here, if you can get her right hip or right shoulder, if they're sliding, so she didn't slide at all. She went and hit a forehand there.
Yeah, I went across the body. I mean, I think she had a strong counter.
Yeah, she had a strong counter, and then what'd you do? Or did your partner hit up the middle after this?
No, I just missed the second one. I went along with it.
Okay, so hear me out here. She hit a forehand on that counter when she probably should have slid backhand. In mixed, from that position, you're taught to clear your body and hit a backhand there. But she actually hit a forehand there. So if she's a forehand heavy player, which there are some women that sit forehand, then you've got to get their left shoulder. So, it's not always cut and dry, right? Right hip, right shoulder against
Kind
a
of have to
righty.
know your opponent a little bit.
Yeah, you just find out early, and you'll find out right away because women are never sitting at their body. So, like, nearly, almost never, right? Like, men are, especially me, right? Like, strong at the body with one hand, countering with one hand, but women are almost always countering with two hands on the backhand. And that's normal at the pro level, at the top level. Anna Lee, Anna Bright, Catherine Prento, that's how it works. So they're going to be sitting usually one way, and some of them are going to sit with a pancake forehand or a semi-Western forehand. And in that case, you got to get the left shoulder. And if they're sitting backhand, you got to get the right shoulder. But that's why it's really important when you're playing mixed, you have to know your opponent, even more than men's. In mixed is particularly important because you're going to be attacking the girl way more often than you would in a men's context attacking a man. Does that make sense?
So in scenarios like if I'm playing in a tournament where I don't, I've never seen these people today or seen these people play before, like how do you fill them out quickly? Like, do you just hit a couple different spots, watch them warm up? Like, what are you looking for?
You just need to attack them at the body one time, right? That's it. And you'll see their grip too. If they have a continental grip, there's a really good chance they sit backhand. If they have an Eastern grip, there's a really good chance they sit backhand. If there's a semi-Western grip, if you guys are familiar with the grips, right?
Yeah, we're following.
Okay, then, if a girl's got a forehand pancake or a semi-Western grip, there's a better chance that they're sitting forehand. I'd say most of them sit backhand, but if you can attack them right at their chest one time, I'll do that often. At this point in the pro game, I know everybody, but when I didn't, you can go at their chest one time, just directly at their chest, and see which way they go, and then from there, that's going to piece together the rest of your strategy.
Okay. All right, we'll do the next point. So this one I just miss. He speeds it up down the middle. I miss it. I just miss this counter more than I should. I don't know if it's positioning. I don't know. We'll see what you say. I just miss that shot all the time.
Okay, so he flicked it cross to your forehand?
Yeah.
Well, you're hitting up on it, and it still went in the net. He got it down. And if he gets it down, you might be better served resetting that. So see, that's a high dink. He gets it down. You're making contact with it at net height. If you don't feel comfortable resetting it,
it's not that I don't feel comfortable resetting it. I think my instinct is just to counter.
And that's not the worst instinct to have, especially in a mixed context. And that's tough. It looks like you're standing pretty straight up there, and I think it looks like you're hitting up on it too. I had a couple issues with forehand counters too. I think I was making too big of a swing, and you also made contact with it nearly right at the level of your body, like in terms of hitting it kind of back here almost.
Yeah.
Like behind him a little bit.
Yeah, I think for me, one thing that helped my forehand counter was trying to meet it actually as far in front as I could. So that doesn't mean you're meeting it like straight up, but you're meeting it more in front, and that makes your swing a lot smaller. So you want your forehand swing to be as small as you can because you have enough power on a forehand counter. Everybody does.
Right.
You just need to make that swing small because think about a backhand counter.
Sure.
The swing is naturally with one hand already very small. A forehand counter, there's a lot more room for it to get big, so you want to keep it tight.
Yeah, I feel like now you mentioned that, I don't know, I did catch the ball behind me a little bit. Like maybe I just need to have but it's just like my paddle positioning initially.
Well, I think you just need to drill it and try to meet it out
1,000,000 times.
Well, yeah, just meet it in front as far as you can. It looks like you had a little bit of a backswing first.
Okay.
You don't want that backswing. The backswing's not necessary because on a forehand you have enough power. Just meet it in front.
Just meet it there.
No backswing. Yeah.
Okay, got it. I'm gonna skip ahead a few since we only have a few minutes. Let's see if I can find the one I'm looking for. So this is this one's interesting. I think I win this speed up.
Wow, one-handed off the bounce. You don't see that every day.
But I feel like I hit him in a good spot. I mean, you have angles from there, right? Like he has to cover more ground.
Good recovery.
Where was it? Yeah, here. Like, why was that good?
Well, he's sitting backhand because that's the other thing in mixed. If you're in front of the guy in mixed, speed up the ball actually behind him because he's looking to jam the middle. So he's looking to take that middle ball. So you have that backhand opportunity. Speeding it up with one hand off the bounce, that's tough to do. I think it worked because you picked a good spot. You don't feel comfortable with two hands?
I do. Just in that one, I just did one for some reason.
Tell him you got lazy. You got lazy, Braydon.
Yeah, I mean, any two-handed backhand off the bounce speed up is better than one. I could tell you that for sure. But I think you hit a good spot.
I tend to use two hands a lot more on the right than I do on the left. I don't dink as much with two hands, but I'll speed it up with two hand. I like countering with two.
Got it.
But I'm not like a full timer.
That makes sense.
Okay, so this one, I just don't know why I didn't clobber this. Like, I want to see. I feel like I was in a bad position, but I want to see what you say. So he earns it, and I feel like I should just smush that, but I don't.
Yeah, you're doing a backswing on your forehand. That's the thing that I've noticed now a few times.
Same.
Yeah, you're bringing it back. So just pause it right as he's about to hit it. You bring it back. You see that? You're taking a backswing on this forehand initially. There's that initial backswing, and then you're late, and that's the same problem. You're taking a backswing.
So just meet it out in front, kind of that same idea from earlier.
Yeah, there's no backswing necessary on a forehand at all. I think you're taking time away from yourself, and if you just meet the forehand out in front, it's going to go down. You don't need to swing. I think it's
okay.
Any backswing on the forehand is too much.
Meet out in front, get the ball down, not worry so much about trying to just crank it.
Yeah, you watch like a Ben Johns or like a lot of the best players. It looks like they're taking a backswing. They're really not. It's mostly out in front.
Okay. And then this last one. So this is just like a long point, and I want to just kind of get your idea of just kind of how I move. See what you think about it.
Got it. Well, it's an interesting situation with the guy on the right. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, when he opens the face of his paddle, if he's opening the face of his paddle, be ready to jam middle even more. I think you could take more court if the guy is on the right and the girl's on the left, and she's not beating you behind you with some sort of cross-court backhand aggressive dink like Annalie Waters. Then you should be taking more court because there's more angle if you're in front of a guy, right, and you're playing straight on mixed with either you're on the right or the opposing guy's on the right, you can take more court. So if you see Riley or myself, when we play the right and mixed, we actually take more court because the girl has to beat us all the way behind us with like a winner cross court dink. So I think you should be taking more court there. And then a couple times the paddle face is open and you're not ready to jam middle and be aggressive out of the air. You have to notice like that situation. If your opponent's right there, that wasn't open, so don't. But if they open their paddle face, you need to be ready to lean in and attack right away. Do you know what I mean by open their paddle face?
Not exactly. Explain that a little bit.
Like if they're slicing. So if they're hitting topspin, their face is closed. If they're slicing the ball, right, like a sliced dink, you guys know what that is.
Yeah.
Then you need to be leaning in so you can attack out of the air. The pros, if you ever have a sliced dink, they're leaning in. They're trying to attack out of the air at any moment because nobody's going to beat you with a slice speed up. Have you ever seen that? If you get beat by a slice speed up, that's on you. That's just sad.
I'm sure I've gotten beat with a slice speed up. Yeah.
Well, Logan's a different story, but awesome, guys. Well, thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, thanks, James.
Thanks so much.
Thank you, guys. And Logan, keep working on your game. Braydon, you're good.
Thanks. Appreciate it.